Tidak. Okay. Good day to all. Good morning to people in the UAE and good afternoon to people in Malaysia. Thank you everyone for joining us today for the opening of Gabung إندماج Joint Faculty Virtual Exhibition between School of the Arts, Universiti Sains Malaysia and College of Fine Arts and Design, University of Sharjah. I am Elham Shafai, the Industrial Fellow at the School of the Arts, Universiti Sains Malaysia, and I'm extremely delighted to be the curator for this collaborative exhibition. Allow me to extend my sincere appreciation to everyone who has made this occasion a reality. My special thanks to Dr. Momtaz Begum Abu Bakr, Dean of the School of the Arts, Universiti Sains Malaysia, and Professor Dr. Nadia Al-Hassani, Dean of the College of Fine Arts and Design, University of Sharjah, and the artists, designers, and academicians from both institutions. My deepest gratitude to all staffs from SOTA and CFAD, whose commitment and support are second to none. This project could not have been possible without your contribution and dedication. On that note, let me introduce and welcome our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Aldrin Abdullah, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Student Development Affairs and Alumni, University Sains Malaysia, Professor Dr. Ma'ammar Bittayeb, Vice Chancellor for Research and Graduate Studies, and Professor Dr. Isam Ajami, Acting Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs at the University of Sharjah. Last but not least, I would like to thank the CFAD students also for joining us today. Thank you for making this milestone more memorable and significant with your presence and support for Gabung إندماج exhibition. The notion of Gabung إندماج is a merging of two words, Gabung in Malay and إندماج in Arabic, bearing the meaning of the state of being fused. Gabung إندماج is used for this exhibition as indication of the range and diversity of creative practices studied and researched at SOTA and CFAD, and reflects the fact that the participants are committed to maintaining a creative practice as artists and designers, whilst committed as full-time educators and academicians, and in some cases as administrators as well. The purpose of this exhibition is not limited to the assimilation of two art institutions from two different countries. The artworks in the exhibition indicate the experiences of artists, designers, educators' fusion of their artistic studio practice while providing quality education to the sons and daughters of each nation and community. The show invites the viewer to examine and engage with these multifaceted artworks to provide a new perspective, to find a link between creative practice and educational mandate. Foreseeing of the idea addressed in this exhibition, it occurred to me to showcase the institutions which I know and have met their artists, designers, educators. Knowing the identity of these individuals, both from SOTA and CFAD, and the fusion of their practices helped me with the selection of the artworks. It showed me how, for some of us, the studio is a unique place for problem solving, media exploration, and giving form to ideas of personal and social relevance, while for others, it is the educational consequences of the studio experiences that offer tangible outcomes. Thus, this exhibition tries to bring forward the sense of fusion to enhance the essence of the artworks. Without any further delay, I would like to invite Dr. Momtaz to share a few words with us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ilham. Assalamu alaikum, and may be peace be unto you. A very good day to all of you present today. The Honorable Professor Dr. Ma'ammar Bittayeb, the Vice Chancellor for Research and Postgraduate Studies, University of Sharjah, Honorable Professor Dr. Esam Ajami, Acting Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, University of Sharjah, Honorable Professor Dr. Aldrin Abdullah, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Student Development and Alumni, University of Sains Malaysia, Professor Dr. Nadia Al-Hassani, the Dean of College of Fine Art and Design, CFAD, University of Sharjah, Dr. Elham Shafi, the curator of today's exhibition, Dr. Ismail Ahmad, the program chair of Fine Arts Department of College of Fine Art and Design, CFAD, University of Sharjah, Dr. Tatriana Fauzi, the program chair of Fine Arts Department, School of the Arts, SOTA, Universiti Sains Malaysia, distinguished artists from both CFAD, University of Sharjah, and SOTA, Universiti Sains Malaysia. Dear students, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the virtual exhibition of Gabung IndMarch 2021. Gabung IndMarch brings you the fusion of thoughts, ideas, and artistic inspiration between two distinguished art and design schools. It gives me great pleasure to Gabung School of the Arts, SOTA, Universiti Sains Malaysia, with the College of Fine Arts and Design, CFAD, University of Sharjah, through this inspiring art exhibition. This is a new initiative undertaken by SOTA through Dr. Elham Shafi, SOTA's Distinguished Industrial Fellow and the curator of today's Gabung IndMarch. Ladies and gentlemen, last year and the past few months had posted to be very tough and trying times, especially for artists and the art communities around the world due to the devastating COVID-19 pandemic. With the loss of artistic livelihood, performance spaces, exhibition spaces, many artists lost their voices, inspiration, and the creative need to make art. As the world is continuing her struggle to battle the pandemic, it is imperative that we learn to embrace the new normal. Innovation and creativity becomes the two most precious words for everyone. And these two words are also the mantra for artists as we continue to persevere. Today's Gabung IndMarch is the continuous effort of artists who are also academics to bring hope through this inaugural exhibition and show us that this is more than just arts. It is the fusion of artistic practice and academic scholarship where practice meets theory. The psychedelic artist meets the analytical educator in an attempt to position the arts as worthy of critical inquiry and at the same time being aesthetically beautiful and meaningful. Ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to thank Professor Dr. Nadia Al-Hassani, the Dean of CFAD, University of Sharjah, Dr. Ismail Ahmad, the Chair of Fine Arts Department of CFAD, Dr. Tatriana Fauzi, the Chair of Fine Arts Department of SOTA, USM, the organizing team, and their inspiring artists from both CFAD and SOTA for the wonderful initiatives for making Gabung IndMarch a reality of hope. My special thanks goes to Dr. Ilham Shafi for being the brainchild and curating this awe-inspiring project. Wishing all artists and art lovers all the best in marking and making your creative journeys. I end my speech with Henry Matisse's words, creativity takes courage. And that is exactly what Gabung IndMarch is all about. Let today's Gabung IndMarch be the first of many more fruitful collaborations to happen between our two esteemed institutions. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me now to invite the Honorable Professor Dr. Aldrin Abdullah, the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Student Development and Alumni, Universiti Sains Malaysia, to say a few words in support of Gabung INDMARCH 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mumtaz. Can I just check whether you guys can hear me? Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Mamar Betayeb, Vice Chancellor for Research and Graduate Studies, University of Sharjah. Professor Dr. Isam Agami, Acting Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, University of Sharjah. Professor Dr. Nadia Al-Hassani, Dean, College of Fine Arts and Design, University of Sharjah. My colleague, Dr. Mumtaz Begum Abu Bakar, Dean, School of Arts, Universiti Sains Malaysia. Lecturers, students, exhibition committee, members, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh and good day to everyone. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate the participants and committee of Gabung, which is also known as INDMAJ in Arabic. Also to everyone that has made this event possible. It is important that educators become exemplary in their field of expertise. Thus, creating and exhibiting artwork is a crucial part of a practice which can showcase talent and expertise of an art institution. Gabung is one of the examples of events which highlights this practice. This exhibition is part of an industrial fellow program initiated by the university with the aim of bringing the university closer to the industry and vice versa. Under the program, the Fine Arts Department, together with other sections in the School of Arts, Universiti Sains Malaysia, have successfully collaborated with participants from the College of Fine Arts and Design, CFAD, University of Sharjah, to come together and display their creative practice in a virtual art exhibition. Gabung witnessed the possibility of a unity during these challenging times where physical congregation and collaboration are seen as almost impossible to attain. There are several types of unions and merging, intermingling touches on many levels of intimacy and participation. It is about constructing platforms in which two strangers can be on the same wavelength and attitude that will certainly bring positive outputs such as discourse, idea, ingenuity, and diplomatic understanding in a neutral atmosphere. Integration and cooperation, not just within art exhibition, have proven the importance of network and combined effort in international arena to inspire and spark further future collaboration. I would like to wish the best for everyone in this exhibition, and hopefully there will be many more collaborations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Aldrin and Dr. Mumtaz. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Nadia Al-Hassani to enlighten us with her speech.
Assalamu alaikum. Professor Dr. Aldrin Abdullah, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Student Development Affairs and Alumni, my colleague Dr. Mumtaz Begum, Dean of School of the Arts, University of Science Malaysia, our very own Professor Dr. Muammar Battayeb, Vice Chancellor for Research and Graduate Studies, and Professor Dr. Isam Ajami, Acting Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs of the University of Sharjah, faculty, staff, and students from both Universities Science Malaysia and University of Sharjah. Welcome to this unique opening. Fusion, in its most basic definition, is the process of combining or joining two or more elements into a single entity. In art and design practice, it is about absorbing various styles and theories and incorporating mixed media, multiple ideas to convey a new concept and timely message. It is the rearrangement that allows questioning and explorations beyond the typical and promotes a wider and inclusive dialogue among its audience. A form of creative fusion is the synthesis of traditional and modern techniques of production, incorporating traditional motifs into contemporary designs towards sustaining cultural norms and formulating local identities. Working based on continuum and progression and emulating past techniques while experimenting with contemporary iconography brings forth a newer perspective on notions of the making and the made. Our college embodies the exhibition's theme through its faculty's creative work and interdisciplinary instruction in our 4 disciplines, namely fashion design and textile, fine arts, interior design, and visual communication. The artists and designers whose work is highlighted in this virtual exhibit brings together a breadth of cultural manifestations and depth of professional engagement. Each within their own expertise fuses personal beliefs, convictions, and memories of their country of origin with experience gained and observations made in their adopted homeland, the United Arab Emirates. The result is a visual symphony paying homage to their past and acknowledging their present. This mosaic of creative expressions is at the heart of the college's identity, representative of its community's composition, and evidence of our collaborative spirit. Lastly, the fusion of artistic explorations among the faculty of our 2 colleges provides for a unique form of synthesis. It is an occasion to narrow the geographical distance among our academic institutions through a collective engagement in the creative process. More notably, it demonstrates that the overreach of artistic scholarship in a world focused on the augmented and the virtual. Thank you, Dr. Ilham Shafai, exhibition curator and driving force behind the collaboration, for bringing our 2 institutions together, fusing our community's artistic explorations through this unique collaboration. Thank you very much. I would also like now to introduce Professor Dr. Muammar Battayeb, our Vice Chancellor for Research and Graduate Studies, to give us a few words on the occasion.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. It gives me a great pleasure to be with you here today in this important international event, the first international exhibition between the University of Sharjah and the University of Science in Malaysia. At University of Sharjah, we give a lot of importance to this collaboration. And therefore, to start, we are happy to have with us today and jointly work with them on this important event. Dear Professor Dr. Aldrin Abdullah, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Student Development Affairs and Alumni, Professor Mumtaz Begum, the Dean of the Art School, all colleagues in Malaysia who are with us virtually, faculty, administrators, students, my colleagues here at University of Sharjah in the College of Fine Arts and Design, faculty, administrators, and students. On behalf of University of Sharjah, we are very happy to be with you. We are in our strategic planning at University of Sharjah. We give an utmost importance to international collaboration because we believe that international collaboration produces quality scholarship for faculty and students. And therefore, it is utmost importance for us to encourage this kind of activities. As you know, today, the knowledge economy is very important to influence the socio-economical development of countries, and there is no better than physical exhibits like this that will translate and transform and show this knowledge physically. We have two cultures, Malaysia and UAE, that are together putting the expressions into this exhibit, and therefore definitely it will produce a new development in fine arts and design that could be important for research and development in the future. So we look forward, very much forward for this event because we believe we can do better quality work together, and our college is developing very fast into a high-level international college with quality research and graduate studies. And therefore, together with you, our colleagues in Malaysia, we can collaborate in organizing international conferences, in exchanging faculty, in exchanging students, in exchanging visits, as well as organizing workshops and symposium and exhibits. Therefore, we look really forward for this important event, and we thank the organizers for their outstanding contribution and efforts in this organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Muammar and Professor Nadia. I would like to present the recorded videos of the artworks of the participants speak about their creative scholarship.
کیوریتور نمایشگاه گبونگ اندماج هستم. در این نمایشگاه آنلاین آثار خلاقانه و متنوعی از 20 هنرمند که در این حال استاد دانشگاه هستند، از دانشکده هنر دانشگاه علوم مالزی و همچنین از کالج هنرهای زیبای دانشگاه شارجه به نمایش گذاشته شده. گبونگ از زبان مالایی و اندماج از زبان عربی به معنای در هم ادغام شده گرفته شده.
Gabung literally means the connection of a fusion of thoughts, ideas, and artistic inspiration. It gives me great pleasure to Gabung School of the Arts, SOTA, Universiti Sains Malaysia, with College of Fine Art and Design, University of Sharjah.
Weaving is not like a painting. In painting, you have a canvas in front of you and you know exactly what you want to do. While in weaving, it's a very slow method and you have to do it carefully. Weaving will need a weaver to understand the patterns, colors, and weaving structure. It also involves complicated techniques and skill. So for me, in my weaving, I look at design and color as integrated rather than two separate entities. I experiment with different patterns, colors, texture, and techniques. Ikat series weaving is my reflections during my journey to India a few years ago. It was fascinating and wonderful memories of that country. The beauty of Indian ikat weaving and embellishments has led me to combine Indian emily pattern with different ikat weaving techniques. Weaving doesn't need to be perfect, but it will turn aesthetically beautiful of imperfections.
My creative practices are presented in myriad form of art, which includes installations, mixed media, prints, paintings, and drawings. I'm interested in feminine aesthetic with crafty workmanship and embellishment. And I have always been fascinated with floral form in botanical sense, herbal properties, and fantasy aspect. In this work, the individual shapes mimic the melted hues cropped and detached from layers of pigment drip. The color, form, and shapes are nuances of floral and fabric in festive events. Portrayed in patches, blotches, and drips, the pieces can be, in a sense, bleak but aesthetically irresistible. They represent taste and preference to trends relating to femininity that can be petty and inauspicious but also captivating and purposeful.
Untuk pameran ini saya menampilkan sebuah lukisan proses kerja digital yang sebilangan besar karya diilhamkan oleh unsur alam dan seni bina berbentuk geometrik dan parametrik. Ini merupakan percubaan proses awal saya dalam meneroka bentuk tiga dimensi dan kesan visual yang boleh berlaku dalam kreativiti melalui pengaturcaraan komputer. Lukisan digital ini berteraskan kepada hukum algoritma di mana unsur garisan, ruang, pergerakan dan bentuk struktur yang kompleks diinspirasikan dari subjek alam kemudian dijana melalui proses manipulasi dan pengubahsaian menggunakan perisian komputer edit design. Saya melihat proses ini dan pengaplikasian yang dijalankan merupakan sebuah transisi baru saya dalam mengoptimumkan keseluruhan ekspresi artistik karya selari dengan idea dan konsep kreatif saya yang ingin meneroka potensi teknologi dalam praktis seni.
My practice usually involve in new media studies, in new media and technologies. Saya selalu adopt 5 principles in design. So usually involved dengan experimentation, then failure. From that, kita learn something new from the failure, and then after that repeat again and again. Untuk pameran ini masih karyanya banyak berkisahkan tentang audio and visual experimentation, yang ada tema tentang culture, budaya dan juga music.
The Nova Mandelbrot Makuta series consists of 4 fractal artwork representing the 4 elements of matters in the ancient Greek philosophy of the universe, which are earth, water, air, and fire. The center figure of this artwork is a Makota, the crown worn by kings and royalties in ancient Southeast Asia. It is a merger of Greek philosophy with the Southeast Asia heritage. Besides this, the hybrid art series shows the combinations of art and science. Abstracted art was created based on a mathematical formula called the Mandelbrot set, which can be visualized into interesting digital art images with endless possibilities. It is a unity in diversity in the making, with the wonder of digital technology and its wisdom.
Saya mempunyai kepakaran dalam bidang seramik. Selama 30 tahun, saya terlibat dengan pameran di peringkat antarabangsa dan juga peringkat kebangsaan. Karya metamorfik merujuk kepada alam, iaitu bagaimana observasi saya kepada alam, iaitu tentang proses luluh hawa, proses terjadinya pembentukan permukaan tanah tanah yang disebabkan oleh hakisan, disebabkan oleh mampatan, disebabkan oleh haba.
Karya ini adalah gabungan beberapa teknik cetakan alternatif yang merangkumi gabungan digital serta manual yang diasaskan bagi membangkitkan elemen penyatuan di dalam sebuah karya. Karya yang dihasilkan adalah dalam pelbagai bentuk, sama ada bersifat instalasi dalam bentuk 2D serta menengahkan beberapa elemen penggunaan material industri yang cuba mengadaptasi semula persekitaran bandar sebagai elemen utama di dalam kajian ini.
Karya-karya yang saya ketengahkan dalam siri pameran Gabung ini adalah mengambil daripada inspirasi kajian di peringkat PhD saya sendiri, berkenaan dengan semiotik dan bahan-bahan yang saya rujuk berkenaan dengan kajian saya ini adalah daripada manuskrip yang terdapat di perpustakaan negara Malaysia. Imej-imej yang saya pilih dalam karya saya itu adalah untuk pergi kepada alam Melayu itu sendiri.
Karya saya untuk pameran ini lebih berkisar kepada aspek garis yang dieksploitasi dan dieksplorasi. Karya saya dipengaruhi oleh dua aspek, iaitu aspek minimalis dan juga aspek hard edge. Karya tersebut dipengaruhi khususnya daripada ciri-ciri karya-karya oleh pelukis-pelukis Amerika, khususnya pelukis hard edge Amerika di tahun awal 70-an dan juga pengaruh minimalis pada awal 70-an. So dari dua pengaruh ni saya rasa dia memberi kesan kepada saya untuk bagaimana saya melihat shape dan juga form dalam waktu sama digabung jalinkan dengan aspek garis.
Collaborations and even collisions has become so important and central to one's practice and even in the larger university network. In the arts, creative collaborations has always been actively promoted or campaigned for or by individuals involved in these collaborations, whether academics or artists. My contribution to this exhibition is an article that raises a question in the context of these collaborations. The questions that I raised in the article, for example, have we embarked on meaningful activities that involves new thinking and solutions? How do we create meaningful engagement in terms of online and yet creative collaborations?
This piece is based on Shahada, or the proclamation and affirmation of faith in Islam. The utterance of Shahada is fundamental in Islamic Tawheed. Tawheed essentially implies making one. It also signifies the dissolution of the elusive self or ego through repeated and cyclical invocation of La, meaning no.
لظاهرة الاندماج عدة تجليات، منها الاندماج الاجتماعي كما هو الحال في جامعة الشارقة كمجتمع يتضمن حملة أكثر من 100 جنسية من أساتذة وإداريين وطلبة. وهناك الاندماج الأكاديمي الحاصل يومياً في محترفات وورش كلية الفنون الجميلة والتصميم بالجامعة، وأجمل مخرجاتها نجدها في أروقة وصالات العرض بالكلية. فالاندماج هو المكون الأساسي لعملية الإبداع.
Does fusion really work as a cultural logic that makes sense of really the differences that are happening across borders? So my work in general for the past year or two, and this piece is that I wrote for the catalog, is a kind of a short glimpse of that. It really tries to encapsulate how the cultural logic of art crossing borders really works. The most productive translations across borders, or when people are inspired by each other, there's an encounter and they learn and they go back to their respective milieu, and in our case that's art making.
Proiectul meu se numește Quiet Luxury, se referă la un lux rafinat, un lux sugerat doar, și își propune să discute noi tehnici artistice în contextul pandemiei prin care trecem. În contextul globalizării, avem tendința să ne întoarcem tot mai mult către comunități locale și către familiar. În acest context, am ales să folosesc tehnici cu care eu sunt familiară, cu care am crescut de când sunt mică, precum tricotajul, croșetatul, broderia, olăritul, împuslitul. Am încercat să dau o nouă viață unor haine și unor obiecte folosite deja în timp, care au defecte mai mici sau mai mari, dar prin brodarea lor, prin coaserea lor cu mărgele sau cu materiale mai elegante, le-am oferit practic o nouă viață.
I make so many different kinds of things that sometimes it's hard to kind of categorize it all together, but I think the most common thread through all the work I make, whether it's in printmaking or drawing or photography, installation, is its roots in origin in Latino culture and oftentimes referencing kind of family, utilizing family photo archives, or referencing politics and pop culture.
كرسي البرقع هو إعادة صياغة لكرسي كلاسيكي من تصميم واغنر مستوحى من شكل البرقع بطريقة معاصرة مختلفة خارجة عن المألوف، بحيث حقق هذا التصميم استدامة للموروث الثقافي التراثي المحلي ليتناسب مع ذوق المجتمع الإماراتي.
مسار إجباري بيشرح فكرة إن إحنا كلنا لازم نكون متواجدين مع بعض ومتعاونين مع بعض عشان نقدر نعدي الأزمة، وده الحمد لله الناس قدرت فعلا تتواصل مع بعض اجتماعيا من خلال التصميم من غير أي محددات أو معوقات لتواصلهم الاجتماعي.
Sudah agak sekian lama saya meneroka persoalan tentang imajan sebagai sesuatu yang kita rasa dan alami. Imajan dalam erti kata ini tidak pasif. Ianya bukan sekadar tanda atau simbol yang menanti interpretasi. Imajan dalam konteks ini mungkin boleh diartikan sebagai satu bentuk organisme yang berkolaborasi dengan kita. Saya cuba menghayati perilaku dan tabiat imajan yang sedemikian dengan merangka imajan seekor arnab yang tergantung di dalam ruang. Matanya terbuka abadi ke arah tanda dan palitan cat.
العمل الفني اللي أنا بعرضه أنه هو عبارة عن السيدات أو الحريم الإماراتيات اللي قاموا بالسابق بقص وقرض البرقع الإماراتي وخياطته، خاصة أني لما قابلتهم أعطوني قصصهم الشخصية وطقوسهم الخاصة بقرض وقص البرقع وخياطته، فحبيت أن من خلال أني أعرض قصص هذه السيدات كنوع من الامتنان للمعلومات ومساعدتهم لي خلال بحث الدكتوراه والتي كانت عن البرقع الإماراتي. نلاحظ أن المنحوتة المصنوعة من الطين ليس بالشكل الواقعي للسيدات. حاولت أن يكون فيها نوع من الشيء المعاصر، أن هي ما تكون بنفس النسب الحقيقية أو اللي هي فعلا. لا، حبيت أن رؤيتي لقصة المرأة أني أنا أطلعها من خلال العمل النحتي.
عمل الفني عبارة عن سيدات ذاهبات إلى حضور فرح، وعادة النساء عندنا بالإمارات العربية المتحدة وأي مجتمع آخر يذهبن بأجمل ما يملكون من الملابس ومن حلي. المادة التي تم تنفيذ العمل بها هي مادة الخوص، وهي عادة من النخلة، بها طبعا التمر وفيها الجريد وفيها هذا الخوص الملون، وهو طبعا عبارة عن يعني شكل العمل فيه حركة، والحركة عندي مهمة جدا في أي عمل فني لإثبات يعني الحياة مستمرة.
أعتقد أن الفن وجد ليعالج قضايا إنسانية كبيرة. بأعمالي حاولت أخفف من حدة والفوبيا اللي تسيطر على المجتمع والخوف من البدانة. أنا أعتقد البدانة صحيح هي فيها مشاكل صحية، لكنها لا تعني القبح أبدا، بل أحيانا كثيرة تعني كثير من الجمال. وإلى فترات زمنية كانت البدانة تعتبر من أحد سمات الجمال في العالم والمجتمعات.
الناس السواسية كأسنان المشط، هيدا العمل هو بيركز على أهمية المساواة بين البشر وكيف كلنا مثل بعض بأعمالنا أكيد وبتصرفاتنا. العمل مشغول بطريقة الكوفي المربع ولكن بطريقة دائرية، كيف النقاط جنبا إلى جنب بتدعم بعضها لتعمل هذا الحلقة بين البشر يلي هي المفروض نكون سند لبعض وتقربنا كلنا سوا مع بعض.
Die Arbeit Flüge handelt von der Veränderung der sinnlichen Erfahrung in Zeiten der Pandemie. Ich habe vor der Pandemie 2019 rein aus Neugier den Luftraum über Dubai fotografiert. Und im März 2020 wollte ich verstehen, was verändert sich eigentlich gerade, weil jeden Tag war etwas anders in Zeiten der Pandemie. Und ich saß am Strand und blickte nach Dubai zum Flughafen und verstand in dem Moment, es gibt gar keine Flüge. Ich habe dann auf der Website von Emirates recherchiert und konnte feststellen, dass es nur noch 3 bis 5 Flüge per Woche gab, Frachtflüge, im Gegensatz zu ungefähr 1950 Flügen vor der Pandemie. Das sehen wir auf den Tafeln. Man sieht also sehr viele Fluglinien in Zeiten vor der Pandemie und auf einer Tafel nur 3 Flüge, welche in der Pandemie aufgenommen wurde.
Thanks to all participant artists, designers, educators, and the whole teams from SOTA and CFAD to make this event happen. And thank you everyone here in the UAE and in Malaysia for joining us for the opening of Gabung Indemaj. This virtual exhibition can be viewed at IE Art Project's Online Art Foundation from 28 October until 21st of November 2021. Thank you everyone and have a good day.